They're like, he'll be fine as long as he doesn't freak out. Shark came into focus. He's like,
Next comic, give it loud everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're gonna have our next comic. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
Your video did really well in the first hour. Have you checked it lately? Yeah, you got a good pop on it in the beginning.
I did. I don't know why. I put a video up of a clip for the mistakes, and it was like I put it up. I checked it 10 minutes later, and it had 150 views. I was like, "Wow, where the hell did that come from?"
You had 1,000 in the first hour.
Yeah, then what happened? Then it just died. Yeah, exactly. Everybody went, "Oh, well, false alarm. He sucks." Like,
no, so it's not that. So
I kind of go from getting 5 views a second to nothing.
it's just the way algorithms work. It might pop back around at some point, but here's what I think is missing in that video, and I didn't think about it till after, and it's because I know the joke so well. Context.
Well, I didn't want context. That was the point of releasing it all out like that. Because I'm not trying to get rid of the whole joke, I'm just trying to give a part of it that gets a laugh on it.
Yeah, but if there's no context to make it funny, people might not understand why people
my kids are mistakes. That's the end of the joke. How much more context do you need?
Okay.
Well, you tell me.
I mean, I the whole point of the joke is that they weren't accidents.
Yeah, I get it. There's a whole
were mistakes, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the funny part. The funny part is, I mean, is not saying that your kids are mistakes. It's saying that no, we meant to have them, but it was a poor choice.
I agree that that's my favorite part of the joke, but I disagree that it's not funny to say that beginning part because it gets a huge laugh.
Well, here we are again because it gets a huge laugh. I agree.
That's different. It's like the biggest laugh I get the whole time, and it's funny to say.
No, it is funny to say, but just because it's funny to say, I don't know how to say it where it's going to make sense in your feeble mind.
It's like I'm getting two jokes in one. Like where normally if I tell the joke outright, those two jokes go together and it makes sense, and it's really clever. Because it's weird to say that something's a mistake, but you meant to have it. Love that. But also for just clips online, it's cool to get a quick little 12-second jab in there. That's a nice, quick, bang joke.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's unsuccessful. It was something that came to my mind after.
I know what you mean. Yeah, like if I did
it's a nice, quick video that people are... Here's something I do. When I'm scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok Reels... If I'm a little unsure of the video, I look at the bottom and see how much longer. And if it's like, oh, okay, I'm halfway through the video, it's only been like 7 seconds, I'll finish. You know?
That's my point. It was only 12 seconds long. I think it's a little long because I put a little...
It was 18 seconds total.
Yeah, because I put that myself at the end there to go on the website. But like the clip itself, it's like 12 minutes of clip. 12 seconds of clip.
Yeah.
And if I do the whole joke, it's like a minute and 15 seconds of clip. So more, trying to get bang. There's a joke in there. Like I'm gonna do the clip of the sloth joke, which I sent you.
Yes.
Which again, out of context, I don't do the sperm whale part. I don't do the whole beginning about how pregnancy is mean. Blah 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 blah. Just call me a sloth. Funny.
Yeah.
Big thing. I'm trying to dumb it down for the internet. I don't know. This is uninteresting, though. You had a good week last week. Tell me about your week.
We all had a good week, yeah. So I had a show on Thursday at Old Salt in Hampton. I get to work with the lovely Emily Ruskowski. Always extremely funny. She's so good. And then the headliner of that was Brian Glowacki. I gotta say, I think I have not laughed so hard at a show that I've been working at ever with those two. They were incredibly funny. I opened up. I was asked to do 12 minutes. I went a little over. I had a. It was an exceptional night for me in terms of crowd reaction. And as you know, when that happens, you gotta wait. You wait for laughs and stuff. So things kind of draw out a little bit. I also was told the amount of time about 5 minutes before I went up, so I was trying to in my head do quick math. So part of it was I probably didn't do the math properly in my bits, but then I was also getting good reaction with the crowd and it's like interaction as well, which adds to it. So it was no biggie. Booker didn't care. He was like, yeah, he did a great job. So, but it was a big deal for me because as we've talked over the last few weeks, I've been really trying to pay attention to the room and as things happen, react to them. And I had probably my favorite crowd interaction that I've had in now 2+ years. And it was part of my Dick Spencery joke where I said a line and this lady to my right just went ew and created a big laughter from the crowd. And I was looking away from her and I heard it because everybody heard it, and then the laughter, and I slowly turned to her, and I just went, the rest of this joke is now specifically for you. Another big pop, and then I did 2 or 3 lines just to her specifically, like it was just me and her in the room, and that got more chuckles and stuff. It was good. I was happy that I was able to react to something happening in a way that amplified it.
Nice.
So that was my biggest takeaway from that night, where I'm getting better at that. But overall, it was just an incredible night. Emily is just friggin' hilarious. My first time ever meeting or working with or seeing Brian Glowacki live. The guy's a fucking riot. He did probably 15 minutes of crowd work, just shitting on the old people that were sitting up front in the most hilarious way, not like mean, just hilarious. And at the end of the night, everybody he shit on came up to him and was like, "You are incredible," and I was like, "Dude, you were fucking incredible." He was so good. I was happy to be there, not just as a performer, but as a fan watching both Emily and his sets.
Wow. Yeah, I do like the Old Salt. That's cool. Cool little room. Lots of geezers, but they go to there to laugh.
They sure do. I made a couple changes in the beginning of my set because I'm like, there's a lot of old people here. I'm going to dumb it down a little bit. So I do the joke about the gas station, where I use the word hand job, and instead I changed it to just to try to dumb it down for the older people. I said happy ending. Just a little experiment with me. Still went really well, but I could tell by that reaction, I'm like, ooh, they like the dirty shit. So I didn't pull any punches after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great crowd. I hope to be able to do that again. Obviously, it's going to be a while. That was the final show that they do there for the year, so they won't be back until January. But yeah, it was a great place. Great crowd. Couldn't ask for any better.
I like it better when you bomb.
Yeah. But the night after I did that, you had a big milestone in your career where you didn't bomb either.
No, I had a good set. I did the Tupelo Music Hall, Lenny Clark. It was pretty sweet. They were doing a documentary on him, and they interviewed me for the documentary. That was cool. I was able to get my set recorded, got some nice tape out of it. Lenny Clark, cool dude. Crowd good. Nice job, world.
That was it, huh?
That's how you give a review, baby. That's how you.
How many
review
people?
your shit.
How many tickets sold that night?
I don't know. 400 something.
So biggest crowd. How'd that feel?
Same.
Felt the same?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna
See,
be.
I felt a big difference. So I feel like sweet spot for me right now, where I feel most comfortable, is between 100 and 150. I wouldn't say most comfortable, but that's a nice crowd. That's a nice packed crowd, ready to laugh. When I opened for Sweeney, it was just shy of 300. I think it was 270 or 280, somewhere around there. And here's why I ask. I found it, because it was my first time doing that big of a crowd, I found it tough trying to figure out how to connect, I think, you know? With like 100, 150 people, if you really break that down, a round table is 8 people, right? So that's 20 tables. That's really not a lot. 100, 150, 10 to 20 tables. It's pretty easy to look at people. But you double that, and he's like, where the fuck am I looking? Watching Steve Sweeney, he figured out he was walking in the crowd. He was up and down the entire stage, the whole thing. Like, you could see the experience. Now,
this was kind of... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, the setup in Tupelo, I wasn't there, but it looked quite a bit different. It was more of a theater. Yeah. So the seating was different. So I'm sure that plays a role in it. But how was it trying to connect with 400 people? Let's say it was 400. It might have been more, but or less or whatever. But how was it trying to connect with 400 people in that setting versus, let's call it the 300 that Bull Run that I did?
Well, I think the reason why I didn't have too hard of a time with it is that I wasn't trying to connect as much as I was trying to perform. I think when you do bigger, it's a huge stage, spotlight on me, can't see shit. So I'm not gonna make eye contact. I can't see anybody, so it's not like I can make eye contact with them. So that's why when you saw my thing, you're like, wow, you were performing pretty over the top, of delivery. That's why, because you almost have to you're coaxing the laughs out of the darkness. You're not looking at somebody, seeing that they're liking it, seeing them laugh, connect with them, and getting the laughs out that way, because there's not a lot of people and you can individually do that. So you're just kind of, pockets of bigger laughs, and you push your body towards the pocket of bigger laugh and all that crap. Look in the direction when someone makes a remark on the side in a funny way, all that stuff. Where you're just it's more auditory than it is visually.
Yeah. I didn't think about it that way. Yeah, at some point you just have to perform because there is no connecting. You're not connecting with everybody. I forget who we were talking about, but I think you worked with somebody and you said, I think he looked at every single person in that room. I forget who it was, but so what do you like better? Do you like I'm going to say at this point, having done that one time and then, everything from almost nobody to, we'll call it 100 people. Do you like the rooms where you're connecting with people, or did you do that theater and go, I just want to perform. I don't want to connect with people?
It's a good question. I don't know, because I had a pretty good 2 weeks leading up to that. So I did a fundraiser for Funny for Funds. Not Funny for Funds, I'm sorry. Comedy for Cash. It's tough to keep up. Comedy for Cash. They did a 200 and something people room. And that was a great show, but I could connect with them because it was kind of I called it Abraham Lincoln's bedroom or living room or something was the joke I made. It was kind of a well spread out. I can look at everybody. The spotlight blinded the middle, but I could see the outside edges of people. So I made fun of the guy in the front row and all this kind of stuff. So I was trying to connect in that way. And then what seemingly wasn't that much more people, I know it's double, but not in the grand scheme of things, not that much more at Tupelo. Kind of felt like a completely different thing. I don't know which one I like better because they both were great sets. I did Mike's had a realtor conference that was 200 people, 175 to 200 people or something like that, and that one was awesome. Could see everybody connect and all that stuff. And yeah, I don't know. If I bombed at either of them, I'd tell you that's how I liked the least, but they were all good. So,
yeah.
I like the Lenny Clark show was cool just because you're in a really nice green room, you feel disconnected from the show. You peek behind the curtain every once in a while and you see it's 400 people because you can peek behind the curtain, see the stage and the spotlights on, so you feel like you're already on there, and that was cool. Lenny was awesome. He walked out with me behind the curtain before I walked out. And as the guy was saying my name, he'd slap me on the back as I was walking out. And then as I got
That's
off,
awesome.
he hugged me as I walked off the stage, which was cool. He was really cool dude. Like, he knew that it... Like, I want to get to the level where I'm like, hey, meeting me is a fucking... Like, this means something to you. Like, you could tell he knew that. Because it does.
Yeah.
He's the greatest.
Yeah.
The reason why we're all doing this is because him, probably.
Yep.
But yeah, that was cool. I'm really pumped about the tape I got. That's really what I was pumped about.
Just to touch base on what you said there, the reason we're all doing this is probably very much because of him. If you go back and watch the documentary when stand up stood out, you'll see he was a big proponent of the comedy boom in the 80s in Boston. So there is a chance that if he didn't do what he did back then, that this wouldn't be as popular as it is now. You know.
Yeah.
In the area.
And he crushes. And he
Yep.
motherfucking crushes. So yeah, that's cool. Got 3 dates this weekend. 3 days in a row. That's going to be fun. Nick's.
Do you?
Yep, navigation.
Oh, you got Nick's tomorrow, navigation, yep.
And then tour in Portsmouth again.
Oh, yeah, yep. I'm just doing Portsmouth on Saturday, McHugh's.
McHughes's.
Yeah, it's headliner Joey Carroll and Rebecca Donahue. Featuring.
I wish the bookers would talk to each other about it, so they'd be like, oh, wait a minute, Anthony's from Kittery, so he should probably do Portsmouth, and Wayne's from Pepperell, he should probably do Chelmsford. No.
I'm happy to do McHugh's. I love that room. I don't mind the drive.
Well, thank you for shitting on what I said.
You're welcome.
You pussy.
So we didn't talk about our last Dark show.
Oh.
The one that you didn't go to. Yeah, we had very poor ticket sales. We ended up with like 16 people.
I didn't bail on this one, by the way, so don't you dare put out.
You didn't. This was ahead of time. But
this was ahead of time. I was already booked.
It was fun though. I gotta say, even though it was a low turnout, I had four or five friends show up out of the 16. I hosted, tried a few new bits. One that has legs that's done pretty good for me a few times now since. Yeah, it was fun for what it was. It was fun. I get to work with Carlos Z, Freddie Sabelli, Ethan Prince, who's a fucking monster, Jacques, me, and Nate Curran.
Nate.
I think everybody had a good time. You know, it was everybody that was there to laugh. It was fun. You know, it was good times.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I felt bad because we gave Nate that 16-person room, and then the next day, I worked with him in Biddeford, and it was sold out. I was like, sorry.
Yeah.
I did not trade.
Hey, it happens. It happens. You know. But he had a good turnout. Actually, somebody that I know, I have a guy that works at one of the shops that I call on. He came up. He drove an hour and a half up. He texted me. He's like, I'm coming up. And I was like, damn, you driving through Boston? He's like, yep. I said, good. Pull over, pick up some homeless people, bring them to the show because we need fucking bodies. Mm-hmm. But he came up and he had nothing but great things to say about Nate. He was a big fan of Nate.
Well, in that lovely time.
Sure is. It was fun though. It's a little different when you have a room full of mainly people that you know. So between the comics and the people that went there, because I was like, please just come fill the room, please do it. I knew 75% of the room. I kind of like fucked around a little more than I would have, you know.
Naturally.
And that was fun. That was fun to do.
Yeah. Did you get any new jokes out?
No, I did the April Fool. Excuse me. I did the April Fool's joke that I've been working on, which went pretty well. I'm honing that down. That did really well in Old Salt as well. So I'm looking forward to trying that again in a few other places. I pulled out a few older jokes. So for those of you that don't know, Ethan Prince is a 15-year-old comic. He's been doing it probably a year and a half.
I think less.
Is it? Yeah, maybe less, but it's over a year, maybe under a year and a half. But he's a friggin' monster, dude. He's so good. His dad is Robbie Prince, so he's obviously got a great teacher. But when I called him up, my intro for him was, one of the common things that all comics have is we all wish we started sooner. But if this guy started any sooner, he would have been a fetus. And then he came up and then proceeded to shit on me for being old, which was pretty awesome. And then when he got off, I used that as a segue. I said, Ethan, you son of a bitch. When I was your age, searching for porn was completely different. And then I went into my bit about, finding my dad's old VHS porn tapes. So it was fun. We had a good time, joking with each other. And I think he appreciated being being a younger comic. I think he appreciated being like one of the, I don't want to say one of the guys, but like one of the, somebody not afraid to shit on him a little bit. You know what I mean?
Did you ask him about hosting 19, Carter?
I haven't, not yet. I'll send him a text tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys were all excited about it, and you just like stared at each other. Well, that'd be a good idea.
Well, I was working.
You text all day. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god, when people say that, I want to kill them. Oh my god. All you do is you text like Hulk Hogan memes to a group chat all day. And now you're going to say I didn't send a text because I was working. This is where hate comes from. Don't you make hate happen. This is where hate comes from. I'm just saying. I hate disingenuity. You know that. That's not a word. Shut up, world. What am I trying to say?
Disingenuous.
Disingenuous. Oh, thank you, Wayne. You fucking cunt.
To quote Jeremy, you uncultured swine.
He didn't say that. You say
no, he said uncultured
like
something. I think he said it when we were talking about not seeing that SNL skit.
That's true. How's that cultured? Speaking of culture, I've been watching Jaws a lot. I love Jaws. It's my favorite movie, actually. It's the only movie that me, my brother, and dad ever would, if it was on, we'd all sit down and watch together. And it's the greatest movie of all time, really, as it goes. But I told you a story that I don't know, I do mostly jokes on stage that know real stories or hey, look at this thing in the news that happened and just say it. I never do anything like that. But I was watching this documentary called Into the Jaws. I think it was only on Laserdisc, and it came out for the special edition in the 90s for Jaws, but someone ripped it and put it on YouTube. And anyways, everybody, I'm not going to explain Jaws. You know Jaws, you know the plot, you get all that? I'm not going to have to explain anything deeper for you?
Yeah,
okay.
You're good.
Okay, so at the climax of the movie, Matt Hooper, the oceanographer, played by Richard Dreyfuss, is going to get into a cage to go fight the shark. And spoiler alerts, in the book, he gets eaten by the shark in it. So they knew when they were making the movie that was going to be the biggest scene to do. And they wanted to get real shark footage for this part. They didn't want to use just the animatronic shark. So they sent out a couple to Australia to film real sharks. And then immediately they had, what everybody would come to eventually to figure out that, all right, the shark in Jaws is 25 feet. And the biggest sharks they can find are 16 feet in Australia. So how do they make the shark look big next to the cage in the water? So Steven Spielberg's like, easy. We build a mini cage, and then we put a mini person inside of the cage. Because then the shark will look huge. And they were like, well, there aren't really any actor, diver, little people available. And then he's like, they don't need to know how to dive, don't worry. So they got a guy who's never dove before, this little guy. And so they're 5 seconds for putting him into the water to start filming. In a little mini cage that they built out of tinfoil, basically, because it had to look small. And then then it cuts to I think his name is Joe Alves. He's the production designer. And he's like, all right, that's when we realized we made a mistake. I turned to the experienced diver and I was like, hey, I didn't realize that little guy actually could breathe as much as we could breathe. And I gave him a mini little tank so he could look small. But it turns out there's only 8 minutes of oxygen in the tank now. So they lowered the little guy into the water. And the second he sees a shark, he breathes all 8 minutes of air and has a heart attack. And then they drag him out of the water. And then they start yelling at him to get back in the water. Because you don't know, when you're having a heart attack, you just breathe heavy. And they were like, get the fuck in the water. And he's like, so they yelled at him to get back in the water. And then if you know Jaws, they actually have footage of a shark getting tangled in a little cage and it rolls around, and that's kind of like they use it in the movie. It's really good. So he was trying to step back in the cage, and the shark jumped out of the water into the cage and rolled around, and then he fell back. And then they had to change the ending of the movie because there's nobody in the cage in it, because he was like, no, I will not get back in there. So anyways, that's one part of an idea I have for a joke, is telling that story. But I told in the last podcast I have a joke I'm working on, which is I'm a straight man, but I have a gay little body. And I'm trying to make that work into a football joke where it's basically I love football, but I'm too small to even fantasize about playing anything on a football team. Like, I couldn't even have a dream that I was playing wide receiver for a football team because it's too unrealistic. So my idea is, there was also a guy, I think his name is Mike Leach, and he was a football coach for a college football team. And he got fired because he proposed to the team that he read in the rule books, and he could not see where this was illegal, that if they were to sign a little person and then throw them into the end zone, it'd be completely legal. So the idea that I'm...
Would they'd be like flea flickering with the fucking midget?
Yeah. They would take them, toss them over. You can intercept them, but you can't because you can't intercept a person.
So here's a serious question, because I don't know a lot about football.
I thought about this seriously. I will answer any question as serious as you can give it to me.
I don't know a lot about football, but I do know rules somewhat. So I know that you can do a lateral pass as long as it is lateral and not and behind. You can't go forward.
Yep.
Would throwing him be considered a forward pass after the line of scrimmage?
No, it wouldn't be a pass, actually. You'd just be kind of pushing a player forward, which you're allowed to do as long as there's forward momentum.
That's incredible.
Right? That's what the guy said.
Why is this whole thing? This is like some Vince McMahon XFL shit. This is what they should have been doing.
This is what they should have been doing. And I thought about it, so the crux of the joke, I think, to connect the two, is I want to do the football joke, and the joke is called "It Could Have Been Me," because I say, I have friends who are tall who watch football, and they're like, "Oh, that could have been me," and I can't relate because I can't even fantasize about playing football. Then I tell the story about Jaws, and at the end, it's like, now I watch Jaws, and I go, "That could have been me." So the little bit of a tie back there. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I see. It's weird because I don't. I usually, if I write a joke now, I'm like, this is gonna work because it's in my style and I know the rhythm, and I'm like, hey, yeah, this is like my other ones. This is one I have no idea if anybody will also think that's funny.
Oh man, so that's interesting you said in your style, because we've talked about finding your voice and all that. Do you feel more? I'm sure you feel more, but how do you feel now about your voice? When you think of a joke, are you like, that's not going to work for me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially looking back at my old joke book
as well.
Because I think a lot of the, we're both doing it, where you get to a stage of writing where you go, well, let me look at my old shit that I wrote before that I couldn't figure out and see if I could figure it out now. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I see the joke that I wrote there, but it's just not a joke that works for me. Like, I'll tell you, a new one I'm doing now is Substitute, which I showed you the version I did at Tupelo. I've been, adding it into Children of Immigrants. And it's just a joke that's in my style. Like, it's a little absurd. It's got some rhythm. It's got a weight, like a hold for punchlines type of joke. Mm-hmm. So it feels like it's in line with the rest of them. Where I know this one, where I'm telling, it's one I know is not, but I'm still going to try to force it because I think that's an important repertoire to have, is to be able to do that. Like, for instance, Shane Gillis tells the story of the guy punching the kangaroo in the viral video.
I love that video.
Right? And I love that bit because he's really just describing exactly what happens in the video, but he's doing it so funny. And that's what my goal is for this, is because that's what happens in the documentary. I'm not really adding much fluff to that.
And the good thing about that is there's probably most people have never seen or probably will see that documentary, and it's hilarious. But for the people that did see it, like, it fucking happened. So it's extra hilarious.
I saw it as a hidden gem because I'm like, man, it's been 30 years that this documentary's been out, 50 years since the movie's been out, and nobody realized how funny it was that they dressed up a midget and threw him in a cage of tinfoil. And then they're like, he'll be fine as long as he doesn't freak out. Shark came into focus. He was like, he just did that. They just floated in the cage.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
It was so. I was watching it in I was like, this isn't real. This isn't real. And the best was they cut to the guy in the end, and he's like, and we didn't have another midget. And they just started.
That's your punchline. There it is.
We didn't. The second mistake we made is we didn't have another midget.
Oh my god.
He said midget too, which is pretty fucked up. Because one guy, you could tell, he's like, well, we tried to take the little guy and move, and the other guy's like, yeah, we had a midget.
I saw a headline about Peter Dinklage saying that they shouldn't use dwarfs to play dwarfs in TV.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did. And I saw Brad Williams talking about that, and he's like, do you know Peter Dinklage is in like the most offensive midget movie of all time? Dwarf movie, maybe, I should say. Here's another thing. Peter Dinklage is a dwarf. It's all he's ever said. He's called himself a dwarf every time I've ever heard him say it. But he looks classically midget. What's the difference? Because I know you're not supposed to say midget, you say little person. I get that distinction. You can totally put that off to the side. But dwarf doesn't seem like a bad word, but seems like a different thing. Right?
I don't know what the difference is.
I don't know what it is either. What would you rather be? Think about yourself. You're small. What would you rather be?
So I think here, I think if you were to look at all right, hear me out here. This is going to sound horrible, but this is the only way I can describe it.
Oh, thank God you're doing this instead of me for once. Everything you said was wrong, but I love that you kept going. You're like,
I'm going to forget to cut that out.
Yeah. But it's an interesting thought.
That's true. I do think I think that's true. I think it's not just a height thing. I think it's a genetic thing with dwarves versus midgets.
Well, which one would you want to stuff in the cage to pretend to be Hooper to see a shark?
I think midgets are more proportional, so them.
Okay.
I think dwarves have shorter arms.
I don't know. I've never seen a midget and gone that looks proportional. Or, sorry, a little person.
Well, you don't know the difference between the two. How do you know you weren't looking at a dwarf?
Hey, you didn't even know what you were looking at there. Could have been a possum for all you know.
Almost lost it.
Could be a fat possum with a black eye. You don't know what you're looking at.
Oh. Pee after dark.
This is offensive. It's funny though. That sucks because South Park did an episode about this, how the 12-year-old mind can't see a dwarf and not just die laughing. That's why I think that it's just it's just so funny to watch. That's why I like the Jaws thing so much, is because it was funny to hear the people talking about him exclusively like a prop. Like, they weren't talking about him at all like he was a human being. They were like, no, look at him. He's like he's gonna be perfect in this cage.
You get a guy with a tape measure just like checking his height, like doing pants.
Yeah, it was funny because the way that so they didn't have, it was the 70s, so they didn't really have like the ability to have nice walkie-talkies and shit like that. They just had like bullhorns, so they're just bullhorn yelling at a midget, "Get in the cage!"
He's got like the Ricola thing. He's just.
Just a picture of it in the water, because they're like, listen, you only have 8 minutes oxygen. We need to get this shot. So it's really straightforward. All you need to do is not freak out. And you just.
It's funny. So I've been watching like older movies and stuff with my son, and it's funny watching some of this stuff through adult eyes and seeing how super offensive shit was back in like the 50s. Like we watch like Pinocchio and like try to watch like Cinderella, like things like that. It's like, this is so fucking offensive.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's so good. It's so good because they are quite offensive, but at the same time, it's like what's his face there, the honeymooners guy.
To the moon, Alice.
So offensive, but everybody just looked at him and they're like, he's funny though. Remember that?
Was it offensive though? Because he didn't really hit his wife.
He said the N-word a bunch of times in that show.
On camera. Did he?
Yeah, I think so. That was a pretty racist show.
I've never actually watched the honeymoon. I've seen clips. I've never watched a full episode. But
like, think about what me and you were missing out on here. Because if you are a comedian in the 70s, you could be as bad of a person as you wanted because you were funny. And everybody would be like, yeah, he's a terrible guy, but he's hilarious. But now we don't get to do that anymore. We have to be funny, but we can't do terrible things.
I mean, if it's funny enough, you can.
You can, I'm telling you. The Crystalia banging all those little girls was hilarious.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. Jesus Christ, I was talking about material life.
No.
Jesus.
Well, I know. But I'm just saying, Cosby got away with it forever because of how funny he was. And then at some point in 2010, we were like, stop doing that, which we should. You should stop everybody from doing bad things. But I'm just saying that
Did I ever tell you I saw Cosby live?
Yeah, you loved it.
He was so good.
He was awesome.
But it was right when all that happened. It was right after Hannibal made his joke. And then everybody started protesting him. And I was like, it's Bill Cosby. He can fuck anybody he wants. Why would he do that? So I went to the show, and there were like people protesting outside Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom. And we're there watching, dying laughing. Some girl in the front gets up to go to the bathroom. And he stops the show and goes, hey, you might want to take that drink with you. You've heard about me. And we're all like, oh, Bill, you silly bitch. You're so funny. And then a couple months after that, he's like,
dark.
Yeah, I did that. I fucking
70
everybody
times.
used Beirut back in the day. And then I used to tell people, because he was in jail, so I was like, he's going to die in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to tell everybody, he was hilarious. If he ever got out and toured, I'd probably go see him again. And then he got out, and he's trying to do a tour, and I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Remember that joke I wrote about that? Bill Cosby touring? Never did.
No.
I mentioned it on here once. It was basically like, imagine, like Bill Cosby's getting out and he's touring, and I understand that that's a bad thing. You shouldn't see it. But, like, what if he murders? And that was the bit, like, because it has the double entendre of killing. I don't remember what it was. It was funnier than what I just said. But, yeah.
I hope so.
I would still see Would you still see him?
No, so I stand by this, and this is what I said back when we had these debates last time. I would spend money to buy his albums and stuff if he didn't get money. I don't want to support him financially. But when I go to a thrift store and see a Cosby himself record or CD or whatever, and pay $2 or $10 or whatever, and buy it, listen to it, and enjoy it, yeah, 100% I would. But I don't want to spend money that's going to benefit him because he's obviously a piece of shit.
Huge
but
piece of shit.
I also am somebody who can separate the art from the artist, and I can separately enjoy what he did comedically, but I don't want to support him financially. You know what I mean?
It's funny how sometimes we can do that and sometimes we can't. You know what I mean? Like, it depends on how good the person is. Like, for instance, again, Crystalia. No, like, he is somehow still... He's doing a theater in Portland, Maine in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
State theater. And you're like, how? How is there still enough people that will... Because that's... Like, for me, his stuff makes him unfunny to me because he's so... He did it horrible. Like... He's always trying to do is pick up 16-year-old chicks. Like, that's like...
that was it, right? Well, not that was it, but, like, did he actually act on it, or did he just try?
Yeah. No, he tried. He, like, tried to make them into cult members where they would, like... He would get ones in every city that would be, and he would text them all the time and call them property, like, all kind of crap. Well, allegedly, obviously, because this is just coming from those articles that come out, which are dangerous, because...
he never went to trial or anything, right? Did he do jail time or anything?
No, but they released, like, the articles were tied with, like, direct message screenshots of him saying all of it, and he didn't deny saying it. So he's saying all those things, like whether or not he knew they were underage or not, I don't know. I can't remember for the articles. But they're young in that. Like, that's the crazy thing to me, to think now. Like, think he's older than me, probably right around your age because you're so old. And he is going to be on the line with the girls that he's dating? Like, how could you even be on the line? You should be 10 years away from where it could be possible that you are banging a whatever. But so my point is, though, is that he completely, to me, not funny anymore. But for Cosby, who's, you guys say worse, because he went to jail, did way more people, drugged them actually against the will, all that stuff. But you're still like, man, he's so funny.
But you're saying that you couldn't find a joke funny that he wrote because of what he did?
Yeah, because he turned me off so much as a person. Like, when I look at him, I get mad now. So now I can't think of... You know when a comedian loses you in the first minute and you're like, I don't care what he says, I hate him. It's like he did that permanently, where still even Cosby is so good at the art that you can lose... You could forget who you're dealing with. And you're just like, that's a good joke. Like, I never get that with Aaliyah.
I don't get that personally. I don't think I get that personally invested in as a person, where I can't hear the words and appreciate the words or jokes or whatever. But I do have that. What's that?
I know you do that because I know for like I'm not gonna name names, but I know for instance, comedians that you don't like that you work with sometimes, you're like, yeah, it fucking sucks, and then you'll be like, did all right though, because you just hate him or her, and that means that no matter what they say, and it happens to me too, I'm like, that guy fucking sucks, and then it's just because you don't like them, and then in the end, if you took yourself away from it, they could be funny. I'm saying, like, I don't know D'Elia, but I get that same feeling. Like, I just don't like him.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even in that example, I say, yeah, he did all right though. But I just like somebody that good. I mean, that is, I hate to say that is a difference, but it's like somebody that good, like Cosby. Once again, I don't want to support him financially anymore, and I won't. I won't buy any Cosby merchandise or TV shows or specials. But once again, if I was to go on a YouTube channel that's unassociated to him and watch some of his old stand-up, I can appreciate the jokes for what they are. And do so conscious, with a clear conscience, because I know he's not getting any of that revenue.
What about Carlos Mencia, who I think everybody now is like, he sucks, all this stuff. And I agree. I think he sucks. But there are some specials and some jokes where that's pretty funny, and you can go through that. But after all of that, can you still do that?
I don't. The jokes I remember most of his are the ones that he stole. So, well, here's like an Inception type of shit. He stole from Bill Cosby. So can you listen to the Menstelia version?
Can you listen to Carlos and be fine, but not? That's a really good point. Maybe that's what we can do. Look, so here's what we're going to do. Me and you, we're going to abandon our material. It sucks anyways, trust me. And we're going to go take both Cosby, the best comedians of all time who've gotten blacklisted, and we'll do their acts. And we'll be like, come see us guilt-free.
How many comedians have been blacklisted? There's D'Elia, Cosby,
Brian Callen.
He got blacklisted?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Me Too'd.
Really?
Yeah. That's why he hasn't, we rarely see him on Rogan anymore and all that.
No shit. I mean, I thought it was just because he wasn't funny.
That's also a huge contributor. I'm telling you, if you're funny, it changes things a lot.
I liked Brian Callen as a person. I never found him funny. Let's say as a person, as a personality, I should say.
Yeah, he's a good actor. I know what you mean. Like, was a Hangover and all that. Is correct. I do. There is I like that feeling in comedy when you don't like somebody and they're so good, like live, that you're like, fuck, it's pretty good. I've had that a couple times where I didn't want the person to do good and then they did good and you're like, God damn it, they're funny. Wow, that sounds like... What the hell is that? You dying over there?
What I think that is, because I record in my basement, I think my wife is doing laundry. And I think the washer is draining, and that's water flowing over my head.
It's nice that your washer and dryer is upstairs.
Yeah, it is very nice.
I have mine on the third floor too. That's how you get it.
You're on the
It's
what?
got to be. My washer and dryer and like my highest of upstairs.
Oh, really?
Which is nice because next to the bedroom. I just wash clothes, bring it on there.
Huh.
Who wants to drag clothes up a flight of stairs?
This is interesting. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often.
Yeah, that was loud. It sounded like a dragon coming.
That's the only thing I can think it was.
A dragon coming? Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Dude, I've been cooking on the grill.
Working. Oh, yeah. Tell me.
Oh, man. I used to cook on the grill all the time, but I just kind of like fell out of it for a little bit. And the last week I've been just every night. I did a nice steak tonight. I did some burgers the other night. Just fucking love the grill, man. So good.
Yes, I never could get into it. My problem was the only grill I bought when I moved to my house was a Traeger.
Mm-hmm.
and they don't do anything great. They only do everything okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like it grills, but it doesn't get too hot enough because it's not an open flame. It's just like pellets that get there, so you can never get like a real sear on it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And then it smokes, but it's not like a real smoker in the sense of like completely airtight. You're still using pellets. So that was a dumb thing that Joe Rogan got me on because he got a million of them for free, and they pay him millions of dollars to talk about it. Son of a bitch, Joe.
Yeah, I used to have a Weber Smoky Mountain smoker. I love that, but it got old. I had to get rid of it, and I haven't replaced it. But I want to go with an offset now. I smoked a lot of crazy shit. Smoked okra, so good. I smoked jalapeno peppers, smoked cheese, cold smoked cheese. Oh my god!
I don't think
Salt.
you're allowed to be called racist anymore if you've smoked okra. I think like you get a pass.
No, you are. that is the most southern shit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you're getting down with what the black folk get down with. They love okra.
Yeah, I have a customer who's very southern. I think is he from Georgia? I think he's very southern, wherever he is. And when we first met each other, I was trying to find common ground, and he mentioned something about smoking. I was like, oh man, say I smoke everything. I was like, just the other night I smoked okra. I don't know if you know what okra is. And he goes, son, I'm from the South. Fucking course I know what okra is. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I don't.
This guy has given me a couple
What does it taste
great
like?
lines. Okra?
Yeah.
It's slimy. It's like it has like a mucus inside. It's weird.
Why would you eat something that's how you describe it to people? Why would you put that in your body?
I mean, it tastes delicious, but the inside has like a film, like a mucousy film. I don't know. The flesh of it is delicious, but when you cook it, it has that mucousy film.
Ugh, you're gross. You're a pig. That's disgusting.
Okay.
Yeah, I love judging people for things. Like if I don't like something someone eats, I hate them personally for eating it. Which is it's a weird feeling to because you have that. When you see something you're disgusting, it's like if someone smokes cigarettes and you think that's disgusting. You watch like a chick do it, you're like, you're gross. That's how
It's
I feel
like
about you
Carl
eating mucus
Pilkington
pop.
watching the girl eat the bugs off the stick in China.
Yeah.
It's my favorite scene of that whole series. He's like, ugh.
I wonder if we can get him on. We should reach out to Carl. See if we can get him on.
I do some random ass. Let's try to get these random ass people. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I have people that I've reached out to that are like way above our scale. That I try.
Emo does Emo Phillips do podcasts? Can we get him on?
Oh my god! Can I just tell you again how incredible that night was?
No.
All right.
No, not again.
It was so good though.
My favorite part of that story was you were like, the greatest thing. You said it like this too. You're like, the greatest thing happened that night. I was like, what happened? You're like, it was pretty good. I wasn't even working the show. And Jacques said, hey, go take all the pictures for Emo.
Well, the reason I love that. It was me and Joe were, like consistently interacting with him,
I know.
talking to him, interacting with him the whole time.
I know, but it's still funny. You gotta admit
It is
that's a
funny.
funny thing to be excited about.
I mean, I don't know.
It's like if you're like, the greatest thing happened in the world. There was a puddle on the ground, and Jock said, lie down on it. And then Emo walked across my back. Could you believe he liked me so much? It's not funny unless you laugh with me. Okay.
He was great. He was great. He was so gracious. Like he was so good with all the fans and all that. It was an incredible night.
He sounds like he's the man, yeah, especially for that venue. I wonder how he did the next night, because he was in somewhere else. The Rockwell.
Was it the city? Oh yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get down there more. Well, anyways, I think we did it, right? Good talk.
I think so.
We worked with Brian Glowacki. We worked with Lenny Clark. Look at us. We're openers. God damn it.
Give a shout out to Jeremy for editing last week's episode. Fantastic job, Jeremy.
Fuck you, Jeremy. It's
That
been
too.
Yeah. It's been a wonderful step of the quest. Say another word.
No, I was going to say...
For laughs.